abort this mission now.
Hello? Can't hear you.
Please do.
So cozy in here. I love it. It's Kevin Palowie from CBR. Guys, congrats on this film. I had such a blast watching this. It's entertaining, it's educational. The Nazi killing is top point. You guys have both made so many memorable films over the years. What was it about this picture that immediately stood out from something you had never done in your respective careers?
Well, I think for me, it's, I like to do movies that educate people on actual events that actually happened. And this is, a seminal event that turned the course of the war. And you like to take an audience and give them a ride, but give them a ride that has some value to it, that they're getting educated at the same time they're being entertained. And for me, that's very important. You look at the brutality that was going on during that period of time and how Britain withstood it and how brave the British people were to stay in that war and not surrender, to fight to the end. And Churchill turning the course of the war by having these men go behind enemy lines, and none of them made it to the end of the war. They were all killed. So they gave up their lives for their country, and you have to salute them. They should be remembered. I like to tell stories about people that should be remembered, and every one of the real men in this movie should be remembered as real heroes for their country.
I have a mission I want you to lead.
Well, Jerry said it all there.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, because it is very educational, like I mentioned, but there is obvious, very clear entertainment. There's a popcorn element to it, and it's one of my favorite subgenres. It's a great Nazi killing movie. How much was that part of the appeal to stage those scenes?
Well, my enthusiasm was really came from Jerry initially. But also I'm a fan of this world. I was a fan of the 70s Second World War movies like Kelly's Heroes and Where Eagles Dare and so on. So I was weaned on those stories. So it wasn't a hard sell, something like this. But you're right, it's kind of, it's trying to get the sweet spot between it being educational and entertaining. And Jerry and I were particularly keen that you tap your cap at making sure that you stick to the genesis of the spirit of the narrative, but simultaneously you want to make it fun. Selfishly, you want to enjoy making the film whilst you're making it, and B, it wants to be an experience that when you eventually get around to watching it, it's supposed to do what it's supposed to do. So it should be a twofold thing of enough icing on the cake and enough nutrition within it. So it's trying to conspire those two elements to work in concert with each other. So you get everything out of the experience because it was a seminal mission. It's a seminal story, and we didn't want to lose the spirit of that. But simultaneously, it's a movie, so you want to enjoy the process of the movie.
Yeah, and part of its entertainment appeal is the action comedy aspect of it. Henry Cavill is so funny in this movie. I'm not gonna say it's unexpected because I think the guy can do everything. But did you guys know he had that in him? This might be the funniest we've seen him on screen.
Well, Guy's worked with him before, so he certainly knew his capabilities.
Yeah, I did a movie called Man from U.N.C.L.E. with him, and it was quite clear that once Henry is clear about the role that he's playing, it's quite easy for him, and Henry's a funny guy. So, but the basis of these guys is really from the madness of war, if you will, and the paradox of war, that there's an upside and a downside to knowing there's a gun in the room, and that is that nonsense evaporates quite swiftly, and what you're left with is the madness and paradox of war. So you end up with characters that are allowed to blossom that in conventional times that they were never allowed to express themselves into the madness, but the attractive madness of the characters that they become.
It's very good.
And Alan Ritchson pops off the screen in this. He's such a scene stealer. I mean, between Reacher and this, is he our next big action star? I feel like he's trending in that direction. What did you see from him on this film?
No, he's enormously talented. He brings fun to it. He's a really dedicated actor. Worked very hard.
He's very smart too.
Yeah, and he's smart on top of it. So, it all depends. It's all about choices. for an actor. If you make the right choices, you become a big action star or a big movie star. If you make the wrong choices, you don't. We've seen so many actors that have gone on to be phenomenal, I guess, crowd pleasers, and then you've seen actors who've faded away. And again, it comes down to their choices. Not their talent, because a lot of them are enormously talented. You have to be talented to begin with, but again, it's about choices.
Yeah. Well, guys, again, congrats on the film. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for